Today we have a crazy story of an entitled parent who just never listens. We'll get into that in a bit, but first, went to the supermarket with my mother. I was about to unload the groceries onto the cashier's table from the supermarket basket when my mom stopped me. She wanted me to put them back so that the cashier could unload them herself. Went to the supermarket with my mother. I was about to unload the groceries onto the cashier's table from the supermarket basket when my mom stopped me. She wanted me to put them back so that the cashier could unload them herself. I instantly snapped and it ruined my mood. Am I easily triggered? Since I was a kid, whenever I went grocery shopping with her, we always bickered about things. Many things seem to upset and annoy me. What do you think her reasoning is? Does she subtly feel entitled? In this place, it is common for the cashier to unload the groceries from a handheld basket, but the one we currently use is the one with wheels, so the design isn't suitable for putting on the cashier's table, as it's big and awkward. This kind of little thing, her nagging me or asking me or helicoptering me, makes me snap. Do you think she exhibits entitlement, or am I easily triggered? Whenever she does these, my instant reaction is to snap, and if not, my mood is completely ruined. I disdain her little comments or nagging. She makes me frustrated like a child. I think this is just really weird behavior in general. If you want to help out the cashier, especially because oftentimes it makes the process just go a lot faster, I see no problem with that. I don't understand what the issue is. Unless this is like New Jersey with gas pumping or something, it's definitely a weird entitled behavior. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy crazy stories of entitled parents, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, my mom wants to disown me. I, 21-year-old female, feel like the villain in my mom's life story. She thinks everything I do is a calculated attempt to hurt her. I just want her to love me, but I'll show up in a masculine outfit and she'll get mad. I don't dress that way to hurt her. I like the way I look. That was only one of many examples though. She hates everything about me. When I curse around her, not at her, she tells me, "This is exactly why you're not allowed to be around me anymore." I don't go out of my way to curse in her presence. I didn't mean to say it. Recently, she's been telling me that she needs to set boundaries and cut me out of her life for her own well-being. I'm literally devastated. I just want her to love me, but she doesn't. She makes me feel so horrible, like maybe I am unlovable. I have friends, but maybe they're just pretending and deep down my mom's right. How can anyone possibly love me if my own mom can't, you know? Honestly, sounds to me like OP is too good for their own mom. And maybe it's for the best for OP to just walk away and not look back. Go live their happiest life where there isn't that negativity. Our next story is, I don't want to go break the fast with family. Summary, I escaped home. I tried convincing my parents about letting me move out, and those conversations always ended up bitter. Moved out, and ever since it's been chaos with my family. I can't live a life where the decisions are made for me and not by me, and that's the portion they don't understand. It's nor about friends coming before family. It's not about I want to do drugs and get drunk. It's not about marrying someone outside of our circle. It's about making my own decisions. If I want to go out at 5 a.m. to run, I can do it because I can, and I'm not being restricted. My aunts all know my parents weren't okay, and they've been lecturing me through chat, and one of them has been bullying me. I've ignored all their messages and haven't responded. One of them said, and I quote, "I need to know why you're staying in the town I'm staying at. A homegirl stays in her house, not out in the streets at night. Where is today's party? What a disappointment. The amount of kids she has, and they never did to me what you're making your mother suffer tonight. I realize that you are worth crap. Crap is more important. I want to go because it's Ramadan and breaking the fast with family is just right during this month. But I don't feel comfortable anymore. I feel like I have to go because of commitment to my family, but I don't want to go because I'm not sure what might happen. I don't know how to break the news that I'm not going, but their behavior towards me, even if they think that I've done something wrong, which I haven't, is nasty and disrespectful. Is the tradition really worth it if you have to expose yourself to people who treat you like that? Maybe it's worth looking into if you have some friends you could kind of do something like that with. Is it really worth OP's time and stress? This next story is, parents won't let me live. It has gotten to a point where I've started believing maybe I'm crazy or maybe I am in the wrong. I have no clue how to respond to my parents anymore or how to react. Today I went out on a walk with a friend and then a cinema trip and ate food at a local food place in our area. We are 18. Getting picked up by dad was met with me being yelled at, told, "You said you were going on a walk, why'd you go to the cinema? Don't eat at friends' houses, don't go there. It's late." I left the house at 3 and was picked up at 7:30. During the time I was with my friends, I was sent a message saying, "Don't eat at your friend's house," and that I was wanted home. Got no reason other than the fact that he just doesn't want me to eat there. No food was at home for me. I'm tired. Truly I am. I texted my whereabouts. It's not like I left the country. I feel trapped, like I'm stuck in this controlled state. My dad openly hates everybody and is constantly thinking the worst. I'm not allowed sleepovers, which fine. I'll move past that. But to not even be allowed to do normal things such as dinners with friends or hanging out past 7:30 is crazy. I shouldn't feel terrified to ask to see people more than once a week. I have my life and I feel like I'm going mad if I'm not hanging out with people. I'm doing chores at home constantly. I'm a good kid. I try at school. I've never done anything for them to lose trust in me. I feel embarrassed even talking about my life to friends, as the restrictions placed onto me are so different to theirs. To them, it's because I'm African. But regardless of ethnicity, race, or anything, no parent acts the way they do. I mean, at 18 years old, you should be able to do any of those things, and your parents aren't actually able to control any of that. It sounds to me like the real issue here, and I'm not judging OP because at 18, nowadays it's pretty hard to be independent where you're just moving out on your own. But it seems like there's still some level of dependency on the parents going on, which unfortunately is going to fuel the parents' mindset of, "Oh, I'm still supporting you, therefore I get to call all the shots." Our next story is, am I wrong for being bitter about what my parents did? When I decided to leave college, my parents were unhappy with my decision. However, when I joined another college and found happiness in my new academic path, they began pressuring me to change my major. They belittled my chosen field and claimed it had no future prospects. What upset me the most was not their lack of faith in my choices, but rather their reaction when I struggled academically. During times when my grades were not satisfactory, my parents would express their disappointment by emphasizing the financial burden I was placing on them. They made me feel like a failure and constantly reminded me of how much money they were losing because of my college education. This added to my already mounting pressure and sense of inadequacy. Oddly enough, when I made the decision to change my major and subsequently achieved outstanding grades, my parents appeared cold and indifferent. They didn't show any enthusiasm or support for my academic success. However, when I received poor grades, they would shame me and compare me to other people, making me feel even worse about myself. The situation reached its lowest point when I left college with a GPA of 1.04. Throughout this entire journey, my parents never seemed genuinely happy or proud of my accomplishments. Their inconsistent reactions and lack of encouragement have deeply affected me emotionally. I think the world in general would be a much more beautiful place if the people who gave other people a lot of flack and grief for not doing well were not hypocritical and actually supported and praised people who were doing well. I definitely feel for OP because you can tell it would have made a world of difference just hearing their parents say, "Hey, this recent progress, you're doing great." This next story is, parents can't reap what they've planted for years. Has anyone else been going through this as they've grown up? I've, 29-year-old male, started to become more vocal about family matters that upset me, and my mother is always so upset when I do so. Growing up, my mother has no issue talking crap about anyone and everyone and being like, "I'm direct." Okay, well, now I'm being direct and honest about her brother, my uncle, and she gets so upset. But like, I've grown up with this as an example my whole life. How did you expect me to be? Immigrant mother, Latina, if that helps with anyone to relate. You just gotta accept that her saying, "I'm direct," is just her excuse to try to get other people to accept her steamrolling over them, and not an excuse for you to steamroll over them with the same exact kind of behavior. Doesn't work both ways with someone that entitled. Our next story is, my mom took a picture of my ID card to prove a point to me. Now she wants me gone tomorrow for getting angry about it. My mom, 55-year-old female, took a picture of my 22-year-old female license/ID when it was laying out to prove to me how quick someone could get my information. I only leave my personal things out when it's just us, since we both live together at the moment, cause I can't afford to live alone right now. When others come over, I put my personal things out of sight, so I don't understand why she decided to take a picture. The argument started when I heard, "Oops, sent the wrong picture," to a man she met online from Africa. She always finds men from Africa online instead of dating men in America who she can actually see like a normal human, but that's her business. I thought nothing of her oops until she came to show me a picture of my ID. I found that suspicious as she came to show me a picture of my ID after her accidental picture, and she told him to delete it and don't screenshot the picture. She said my ID wasn't the picture she sent, but why did she show me my ID afterwards and told him to delete it and don't save it if it wasn't that serious? So after that, I got angry, not gonna lie, because she always accidentally posts things to her Facebook and sends people pictures. I told her to delete my personal info out of her phone. Now she wants me gone by tomorrow and wants to shut my phone off. Yeah, so I would try to lock down anything that's linked to your ID, credit cards, your credit. I don't trust that this was necessarily even an accident. Our next story is dealing with gaslighter parents. So I've been no contact with my dad and sister the last few years. Long story short, my dad gave my sister well over 100,000 British pounds for a house deposit and gave me nothing, closely followed by my sister refusing to come to my wedding as she didn't like me getting married before her. A decision which both my parents shockingly supported, as they always side with her. These events obviously hurt me deeply, and I made that clear to my family. I got zero apology. Instead, they dug their heels in and told me to just accept it and get over it. Realizing the toxic dynamic, I made no drama but simply drifted away and focused on my own family who do actually love me. Wife and 2 beautiful young kids who my parents never bothered to even see. My mom, who has admitted is controlled by my dad and sister, keeps pressuring me to have a relationship with them. My dad is now having health problems in his older age, and my sister doesn't want to deal with it on her own, so has been trash-talking me to my parents, creating this drama that I don't need. Neither party has ever apologized to me or tried to make amends clearly, but I'm still getting the pressure from my mom as she wants an easier life. Problem is, I just want to focus on my own family and have no time for their toxic drama. I feel like I'm being painted as the bad guy by my entire family, and sometimes it's so convincing I start to actually believe it. Am I the jerk for keeping away from them and putting my wife and kids first? Considering I feel like these people come across as the definition of narcissistic, I don't think OP would be the jerk or is at fault in any way for keeping them and their wife and kids away from them and their priority. Our next story is, Karen wants my seat for her kid. Hi all. First, I'd like to just say that I didn't think this sort of thing happened where I'm from. I'm from England, but here we are. Today I had a late appointment with the midwife and couldn't seem to get an Uber. Was waiting for almost 20 minutes for a driver, so decided to get the bus. But nice to know that was a mistake. Getting on the bus was normal and I sat at the front of the bus in a single seat next to the window, still panicking about being late for my appointment. That was until the next stop where a mother got on with an older kid and younger kid. The older kid got on just fine and went to find a seat, but as the bus started moving, someone tapped my shoulder and I looked down to see the younger kid. Younger kid said, "Can I sit here?" I said, "Sorry, bud, it's a bit difficult for me to move right now." They ask, "Why?" I say, "Because of my big belly." I point at my stomach. "I got a baby." The young kid says, "There's a baby hiding in your belly?" I say, "Yes, but he'll be here next month." The young kid says, "Oh, okay, thanks." He walks over to his mother who sat in a double seat. I sighed and looked out the window and began to text my friends, then remembered I needed to call the doctors that I was going to be late. Pregnancy brain. But as I was pulling up the doctor's number, the mother began to talk to the person behind her loudly about rude and lazy teens and how no one likes to be kind to kids nowadays. Now, I'm not very comfortable with confrontation. However, with all my bundled pregnancy hormones, I've been a lot better at speaking up for myself. So I sighed and turned to her as she glared at me and loudly began. The entitled mother said, "So are you going to let me kid sit down yet?" I reply, "There's plenty of seats on the bus. I'm sure he can sit wherever, but I can't exactly move right now, especially while the bus is moving." The entitled mother said, "See what I mean?" Turns to the poor guy behind her again. "Lazy teens." I said, "I'm not lazy, just heavily pregnant." The entitled mother says, "You're not pregnant, you just look fat to me." I was in a large hoodie, but even with that, you could tell I had a lovely belly sticking out in an impressive way. Honestly, in some tops, I look ridiculous. I say I am pregnant. I'm also due next month, so I can't afford any accidents so late into my pregnancy. At this point, Entitled Mother pointed at me in disgust. Kids your age shouldn't be getting pregnant. That's disgusting. I reply, not that you need to know, but I'm 24? How is that disgusting? She says, there's no way you're 24. You're way too small. Stop lying. Yes, I'm pretty short for my age, 5'4" for anyone wanting to know. At this point, I just ignored her and called up the doctor, with her complaining loudly in the background. Nothing exciting like her being kicked off the bus or anything. The bus drivers tend to keep to themselves unless a fight breaks out physically. But yeah, I spent years reading about these people, but never actually seen in person. So this was a new one for me. However, the looks isn't something I'm not used to. I get a lot of the older generation glaring at me since I've gotten bigger in my pregnancy. Now, I don't think I look young, but my sister tells me I do, and that being paired with my height probably isn't helping my case. I mean, obviously it's one thing for some stranger to have some look probably of concern, and another for this entitled mother to start berating you and saying, oh, you're too young and whatnot. Also, can I just say 5'4" is not short at all for a woman? That's like perfectly average in every way. Our next story is, my mom literally never listens. I'm 26-year-old female, feeling incredibly frustrated with my mom's 54-year-old female lack of attention to important issues around the house. For the past 2 summers, I've been urging her to call an exterminator due to ant and fly infestations, but she never takes action. Last year, instead of addressing the infestation, she opted to unnecessarily cut down a tree just to avoid yard work. It's disheartening because she disregards my concerns and insists on doing things her way, even when it's not the best solution. The poor air quality in our home is another pressing issue she chooses to ignore, despite testing confirming it as a problem. This situation is embarrassing, especially with my partner witnessing it all. While he's understanding, it's still humiliating to deal with pests because my mom refuses to take responsibility. I've killed 10 plus flies today and put out 6 ant traps. Honestly, I would say at this point, call an exterminator, like shop around for even maybe one that'll give you like the best quote, and just tell her that you scheduled it and try to drop it in her lap. At this point, like, what can she say? Oh, we didn't need that? This next story is verbal argument with mom in regards to our living situation. Hey everyone, I'm just venting here as I have no one to talk to in regards to my mother's attitude and how nothing I say gets to her. To give context, I was downsized from my old job of more than 5 years, and every week I give whatever she wanted for herself or towards the rent for our apartment complex. She's retired with a decent amount every month. Since the long months of finding another job, I still gave whatever little I got from unemployment to her. I really underestimated the few months of downtime to find another position and how it got to her mentally, because even though I finally found a secure job that if working a couple more weeks will automatically get me into a union to help greatly, she decides against my wishes, as I'm on the lease, that she wants another person to rent out the second room that I got from my brother leaving to make more money off of someone. She never made a fit over me having it as an extra room for when I go back to school and have it as a study room. Of course, life finds a way of putting wrenches in one's plans, and I had to postpone my education due to the downsize. I thought with the new position I got, along with my tax returns, that I would get back to school no issue, while still having a secured income with just the 2 of us. I was wrong when she was dead serious when she brought this idea up. I objected to the idea of having a complete stranger that I don't know residing with us, all because of one of her senior friends won't shut up about renting 2 out of 3 bedrooms in her apartment to complete strangers, which is not allowed in our lease by the way, and getting money for trivial nonsense of going to buffets and stuff. Even with my objections and compromises of giving more money to have very little for myself to her to stop this, she still insists on her way or the highway to this idea of renting to someone. She's demanding of me on my days off to remove everything in the second room, or else she does it herself when I'm at work. I became angry and frustrated over this nonsense of her wanting this to be a thing, and that it's put whatever plans I had in mind now in disarray. She's asleep now, but I can't for the life of me try to rest up after having such a heated argument with her. as I'm typing this. Her holier-than-thou attitude of being the first name on the lease and inheriting it from her mother after her passing has her control freak tendencies rise up with her decisions, overriding everything I say and do. I honestly wish I was as lucky as my brother finding a place for himself to not constantly deal with our mother. I am unfortunately not lucky enough to get a place for myself, nor have someone else to live with to not deal with my mother anymore. But I know reality is a cruel lot, and such fantasies as that. Well, unfortunately for OP, I think the only real solution to easily get out of this situation would be to look for another place where you could rent a room, but that's kind of exactly the thing OP didn't want to have to do, share a place with a stranger. Our next story is, entitled Mother Doesn't Realize I Am Her Daughter's Free Uber. A little bit of build up on this one, so hang with me. My mom's coworker's schedule changed, and she was no longer able to drive her daughter, let's call her U, to school in the mornings. I had just landed an after-school job at the school U went to, so she asked if I could drive U each day and that she would pay for it. She gave U $20 a day, by her own choice, to pay me, and my college was across the street and started 20 minutes after drop-off time, so this was easy, fast money. Well, my mom found out how much I got paid and told her to bump it down, so it went to $10. My mom told her to bump it again, and then eventually it was $5. I would have agreed with this if they were struggling on money. However, U's mom makes a lot of money. A lot. Well, after weeks, either U was stealing my pay or they just stopped caring about paying me. Every now and then she would give me $5, but it ended up being like $5 every 2 weeks. Since this only took about 15 minutes extra out of my morning, I just let this go. After a few more weeks of me doing this for no pay go by, one day Yu comes to my car with her cousin, Lo, and says Lo also needs rides to school now. Lo's dad normally drives her, but I guess they wanted the free rides now too. They go to the same school. So since nothing changes in my schedule, I agreed, still not getting paid for this. I didn't have Lo's parents' numbers, but Yu's mom confirmed with me that this was approved. Eventually, Yu and Lo started calling me random hours of the day, asking me for rides across town. I mean, like rides that took an hour of my time. Again, for no pay. Yu had a rough childhood. She was an orphan in another country and adopted by my mom's coworker later in life. Shortly after the adoption, her parents divorced. I don't know if it was the pity in me that kept me giving them free rides or what, but I did. To top this off, they started coming out last minute for school, which meant I ended up running from my college parking lot to my classroom to make it just in time for my classes. I repeatedly asked them to be earlier, and they agreed, but nothing changed. This all went on for months. Well, as I mentioned, I worked at the school Yu and Lo went to. Every day, Monday to Friday, myself and only one other coworker took our every kid kindergarten to 5th grade the moment after the school bell rang. There were 2 of us for over 100 students most days. Most kids had their parents come pick them up by 3:30, and by 4, we were left with about 15 students. However, at 4, the leftover preschoolers and junior high students would join our group, usually about 5 from both groups, putting us to around 25 students. Yu and Lo were always picked up immediately after school, but not this day. They are 8th graders, and when I see the junior high students come into my classroom, I'm surprised to see them, greet them, hand them popcorn, and they sit down to watch a movie I had on. About 15 minutes into them being there, Lo comes up to my desk and tells me her mom is here and they are leaving. I informed them that any kids in my program have to be signed out by their parent and her mom needed to come inside. She nods and goes back to sit with you. 2 minutes later, the classroom door slams open and a lady, entitled Mother/Karen, comes storming up to my desk. This is a good time to remind you, I have never met or talked to Lo's parents. This lady begins to berate me, telling me how it's ridiculous that she had to walk 1 minute to pick them up when they should be old enough to walk themselves. I explained that I could and would get fired if I let any child leave without the parent or an approved person signing them out. She continues to berate me, telling me I'm incompetent and should have brought the sign-out pad with the girls to her car. I explained that my coworker can't be left alone with the other 20 students. We weren't even supposed to be alone with 1 student. She scoffs at me, signs out them both, and tells Yu and Lo to come, and they walk out. You and Lo must have told entitled mother who I was, because not even 2 minutes after they left the classroom, I got a text from Lo saying her mom is so sorry and had no idea who I was. I'm annoyed, but I shrug it off. I was not going to continue being their free Uber anymore after what had happened. There were only a few weeks left in the semester, so I figured I would give them a ride to school still, but that's it. The next morning, I went to pick them up, and Yu gets in the car alone. She mentions Lo's dad is driving her to school now. As I'm about to pull away from their shared house, I see Lo and her dad come out to their car. Lo's dad waves at me with a very sheepish look. Yu ended up transferring schools the next year, so I stopped driving them both altogether. Every now and then, they attempted to text me for free rides to restaurants or friends' houses, but honestly, I ghosted them. I don't blame them for Lo's entitled mother's actions. However, I was tired of not getting paid and didn't feel like fighting for it. Sorry this wasn't more exciting. It happened back in 2018 and it's still funny to me. If only I could see the reaction on entitled mother's face when she realized she just went full Karen on the girl who gives her child free rides everywhere. Honestly, my question is, how does Lo's dad figure this out and actually is sheepish about it enough to take their kid to school, but still see OP taking Yu when they're going to the same place? Why isn't Lo's dad picking up Yu also? That said, My Love Kills wrote, "Sounds like your mom is quite the entitled mother also. She expected you to do this for next to nothing, like you were doing something to make her look good to her coworker." OP responded saying, "Yeah, my mom and I didn't have the best relationship for most of my life until I moved out, so it may have just been her being petty, I don't know. I live in another state from her now and our relationship is very close now. Her and my dad came to visit last week for my birthday and they bought my boyfriend and I like $500 worth of stuff at Costco to help us stock up on essentials in our apartment for 6+ months. So needless to say, she doesn't do that stuff to me anymore." Ranger343 said, "Ew, I was mad at mom before when I first read it, but yeah, the motive you point out, just gross." Our next story is, "I'm so done with my mother." I'll keep this simple. My mother is a POS parent who chose drugs over her kids on several occasions. Last Sunday, my Nana, the woman who actually raised me from a baby, passed away. And my aunts and uncles were there, both for her and for my brother and I. Everyone was there, except my mother. She kept making excuses and saying she couldn't come, but the truth is, she just didn't want to. She lives 30 minutes away from us, and she wouldn't even make that much effort. I know Nana wasn't perfect. She could be downright mean sometimes, but she was there. Oh, but the worst part is that 12 hours after Nana had passed, my egg donor messaged over Facebook asking me to give her some of Nana's ashes after she was cremated. She wouldn't come, wouldn't even answer a phone call, but she wants to keep part of Nana forever. I blocked her and haven't talked to her since. All I want to do is tear into her for all the hurt she caused me and my brother, and I'm done with her. That was her last chance to be a parent. In my opinion, the only mom I ever had was the woman who raised me, and I'll miss her." Well, first of all, my condolences to OP. She may not have been perfect, but at least she was the one to step up and actually be there for OP. I don't fault OP one bit for feeling the way they do and what they did to their egg donor. Restless Dragon wrote, "I'm so sorry that you lost your true mother. If you've not already considered therapy, please do so, to help you with the grief over the loss and to unpack the baggage that your biological donor has been trying to load you with your entire life. At a minimum, you need to get your feelings out. So if therapy is not something you're interested in, consider a burn letter. Write a long letter to your bio donor, say everything you've ever wanted to say to her, call her every name in the book if that's what you want to do. Put the letter in a drawer for 24 to 72 hours. Come back to it, see if you want to add more to it. If so, do so, and then set the dang thing on fire. You'll feel better." But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy entitled parent story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.